Muy bien, chicos, ahora estamos en capítulo 10. We have chapter 10 and the first topic of grammar is the imperfect tense. Aquí tenemos imperfect. Imperfect is one of the tenses that belong to the past tense. So we have the preterite, el pretérito, the preterite or pretérito, and the imperfect. Bien. The imperfect, sorry, the imperfect tense tells us an action that is still happening in the past. It's an ongoing action, but it belongs to the past. In English, it would be the like was or were ing. If I say, I was reading yesterday, I was reading yesterday. The action was in progress yesterday. Yeah, I'm talking about the past, but the action was still in progress. I was reading when something happened. I was reading when my mom called me, for example. That was reading, or they were working, or anything that was happening in the past is the imperfect tense. How is the conjugation here? The imperfect of regular verbs. We're going to see first regular verbs in perfect tense. Acá tenemos cantar, the AR verbs. You drop the AR and you attach ABA, A-B-A, ABA. Beber, ER and IR verbs, and escribir, both. You're going to drop the endings ER and IR, and you're going to attach IA. IA for the form, IAS, IA, IAMOS, IAIS, and IAN. So it becomes yo cantaba, yo bebía, yo escribía. Tú cantabas, tú bebías, tú escribías. Usted cantaba, usted bebía, usted escribía, etc. These are the conjugations. Yeah. So don't forget AR, ABA, ER and IR, IA. That's how you can remember. If you remember the yo form, you can do the other conjugations in an easier way. Bien. So acá tenemos, there are no stem change in the imperfect. Yeah. So for any verb that you know that there is a stem change in the past tense, in the imperfect doesn't happen. Entender becomes entendíamos, japonés. You can talk about also the present or the past still. So talking about the stem change verbs that change in the present, like venir, yo vengo, venir, vengo. For example, tenemos contar, cuento in the present tense, but in the imperfect, we don't change the stem. Here, servir. El camarero les servía. The stem change normally is from E to I. For example, servir in the past tense preterite, that would be el camarero sirvió. El camarero les sirvió el café. But in the imperfect, we don't change the stem. Les servía. We follow the rule of this chart. Bien. Doler. Doler. In the present tense, a mí me duele. A mí me dolió. But in the imperfect, a Javier le dolía el tobillo. Javier's ankle was hurting. Yeah. And here are the imperfect irregular verbs that we need to remember. Ir, to go, ser, to be, and ver, to see. Yo iba. That's the conjugation for I was going. No? Yo iba. Ser, yo era. Ver, yo veía, in the imperfect tense. ¿Ya? Acá tenemos ayuda, dice, like I, había, can be followed by a singular or plural noun. Remember, I is there is or there are. Había also works with ser, so we work with plural and singular nouns. Había 8 estudiantes ayer en la clase. There were 8 students in class. We don't say habían, but había only. Bien. Había un solo médico en la sala. Había 2 pacientes allí. Don't forget, I becomes había. For the plural, still había. No habían, no, but había. Okay, let's take a look at the next page. Uses of the imperfect. Here, it's very important that you guys know these rules, because we're going to see eventually when we combine preterite and imperfect together. And if you remember these rules, it will be easier when we get to combine both. When we use the imperfect, 6 situations, habits or repeated actions. For example, we're talking about always in the past. Bien. Íbamos al parque los domingos. This is a habit. So every Sunday, no, we used to go to the park on Sundays. Every Sunday, a habit, we use imperfect. Íbamos, we used to, íbamos. Talking about the past, but a repeated action. Number 2, events or actions that were in progress in the past, of course. Yo leía mientras él estudiaba. I was reading while he was studying. Yo leía mientras él estudiaba. Here, the translation is exactly the way I mentioned it a few minutes ago. Leía was reading. It is an action that was happening in the past. Third, physical characteristics. Anytime that you talk about physical characteristics in the past, of course, you will use the imperfect. Era alto y guapo. He was tall and handsome. Era. Bien. Mental, number 4, mental or emotional states. Imperfect tense. Quería mucho a su familia. He loved his family very much. Quería mucho a su familia. He loved. Emotional states and mental as well. Telling the time in the past. Always telling the time. We're going to use in the past. We use the imperfect. Eran las 3:30. It was 3:30. Yeah. Eran las 3:30. If it was 1, era la 1. And lastly, the age. When we talk about age in the past, we use the imperfect tense. Los niños tenían 6 años. Los niños tenían. The children were 6 years old. 6 years old. Bien, we're talking about age in the past. We use the imperfect tense. Bien, okay, chicos. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.